Where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. God has hidden unlimited treasures in His Word. Every time we open it, we can discover a new treasure, or admire an old one. What will we find today? Let's dig in. Here's Carla Early with Treasure Hunt in the Word.
If you've listened to this podcast very long, you'll know that I love genealogy. And I love finding exciting truths in genealogies in the Bible. Now, with anyone's genealogy, there's always a few black sheep. And certain strands of the family tree have more black sheep than others. This was true for Adam and Eve's family. Adam had 3 sons, Cain, who killed Abel before he had any children, and later Seth. So Adam's 2 lines came from Cain and Seth. Keep in mind, Adam was still alive for about 9 generations to testify of walking with God in the perfection of the garden and what the world was like before sin. Our associate pastor at our church shared some things on the 7th generation that I thought was so interesting, and I'd like to look at that today. In Genesis 4, the 7th generation through Cain's line was Lamech. We don't know anything about the generations in between, but considering Cain's attitude for being corrected by God and the fact that all of Cain's descendants would be destroyed in the flood a few generations later, we can conclude that this whole branch was pretty rotten. But apparently Lamech stood out. He was the first recorded man to take 2 wives, which we know was not part of God's plan. And he not only boasted about murdering someone during a fight, he made up a poem about it. So obviously this is not a person who's walking with God, and we would want to emulate, is it? On the other strand of the family, the 7th generation on Seth's line is Enoch. What a study in opposites. Enoch, like his great-great-great-great-grandfather, Adam, and like his great-grandson Noah, walked with God. He had intimate fellowship with the Lord. He lived in the presence of God. Now that's what we want to do. It doesn't give us any details here about what his walking with God looked like, but Hebrews 11:5 says that Enoch pleased God. When God saw Enoch, a smile came to his face. In Jude, it says that Enoch was a prophet, so we know God shared things with Enoch that he told the rest of the family. And of course, they were all pretty closely related at that point, so they were all family. He may even have warned Lamech about his evil deeds. As our associate pastor said when he discussed this, with each decision we make, we're taking a step toward Lamech or a step toward Enoch. We can become more like Lamech or more like Enoch. It's our choice. We can choose to walk with the Lord and learn from Him, or we can choose to go it alone and step farther away from Him. Sometimes that decision isn't completely conscious. We just take a step without realizing which way we're headed. But if we think before we act, we can contemplate the paths our decisions take us on and where we'd end up if we continued in that way. Sometimes it's hard to tell. That's why praying for wisdom and discernment is so important, and laying everything at the feet of the Lord who knows all things, all our plans and decisions and goals. We're not in this alone. He's right beside us, and we want to walk with Him as Enoch did. What decisions do you have to make today that you need to bring to the Lord? How can you be sure you're headed in the right direction?
You can contact us at treasurehuntintheword@gmail.com. Also, if you'd like to share a treasure God has given you by doing an episode, please contact us. You can listen to other episodes on our website, which you'll find in the description below. Thanks for listening, and remember, where your treasure is, there will your heart be also.